Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. We'll be discussing the end of Season 10, Episode 12, so spoiler warning if you have not yet watched. I mean it, it's gonna be a big one, so this is a massive spoiler warning for Season 10, Episode 12 of The Walking Dead, which was called Walk With Us. So with that spoiler warning out of the way, at the end of the episode, Negan kills Alpha and brings her head to Carol, and we know it was planned and not coincidental since Carol said to Negan, "Took you long enough." So we know that it was planned. So it was in fact Carol's master plan to free Negan and get him to kill Alpha for her. I'm going to explain based on my understanding and what I've seen what Negan and Carol's plan was and how it all came together. To do that, I'll try to answer 6 key questions. The first question we're going to try to answer is, what was the plan? So the plan was actually for Carol to let Negan out of the cell, have him join the Whisperers, maybe even try to gather some intel and kill Alpha and break the Whisperers from the inside. So that's a pretty simple way to explain what the general plan was. Now the second question we're going to answer is, why did Carol choose Negan? And this is the more interesting question. There are actually 3 main reasons why Carol chose Negan. The first one, the primary reason why she even entertained the idea to choose Negan, was because she saw that Negan had changed and wasn't the same old Negan in terms of being the bad guy or the evil guy. Negan saving Lydia was the deciding factor in Carol's decision to involve Negan in her plan. I think even if she didn't involve Negan, she would still have let Negan out because of what Negan did for Lydia and because of Carol and Lydia's close relationship. She probably knew that Negan was as good as dead if he stayed behind because he would be executed at some point because he killed someone to save Lydia. So I think that Carol made the decision to free Negan, and then the idea or the plan to involve him came afterwards. Maybe it wasn't even Carol's plan to involve Negan, but maybe Negan, who had a good understanding of the threat outside, put this idea in Carol's head. They did reveal earlier on that Negan is always listening and he knows what's going on with the Whispers. So maybe Carol was just letting Negan out, and then Negan kind of told Carol, "Here, listen, I know what's going on, I can help," or something along those lines. By the way, if they decide to do a flashback to explain Carol's logic for choosing Negan, we may get these answers in some form or another. Maybe not this explanation exactly, but a variation of it. The second reason why Carol chose Negan is because Carol is smart enough to know that Negan knows how to manipulate people. She also recognizes that it takes someone like Negan, who's been in Alpha's shoes before, leading a big group, to break down the Whispers from the inside. Maybe she even thinks that it takes evil to defeat evil. So even if she does not see Negan as a changed man and a good person, she still recognizes that it's going to have to be someone like Negan who has to deal with Alpha, or who is capable enough to deal with Alpha. The third reason why Carol chose Negan, or have Negan do this for her, is because she knew that the survivors would not be able to find him because they cannot cross the border. So Negan would have some breathing room and some time to do what he needs to do to integrate into the Whispers and take out Alpha. As a matter of fact, when Negan was let out, Carol pretended she wanted to look for him as a decoy of sorts. This would prevent others from finding Negan. They would stay behind since they would think to themselves that Carol's got it, sort of thing. Also, based on what we know now, which is that she was trying to find Alpha's horde, her plan was to take care of the horde while Negan takes care of Alpha and the Whisperers themselves. Now the third question we're trying to answer here is, what took Negan this long? And why didn't he just kill Alpha the moment he saw her? This is an easy one, and it's a mixture of what Negan and Carol planned originally and part of Negan's own agenda and own preference. So first, Negan couldn't just walk in and kill Alpha for reasons that I'll explain in a minute. She had to first gain her trust and understand how the Whispers operate before he pulled the trigger. The other reason, which may be a bit of Negan's own personal thing though, is that Alpha did actually remind Negan of his wife, Lucille, who had cancer. So Negan was just trying to see if there was any way he he could help Alpha change, like he did himself, after being this evil enemy at one point. Now, just to quickly explain why Negan could not just kill Alpha right away, even if he wanted to, Negan saw that Alpha had a good following. She had Beta, who was more loyal to her than Simon was to Negan. Simon, of course, was Negan's right-hand man. And also, Alpha had many die-hard followers other than Beta, who would die for her in a heartbeat. And these were precisely the people who controlled Alpha's mega horde, her atomic bomb. So it's not just Alpha and the Whispers. They have this big threat, which is the horde at their disposal that they can just use at any point. So this makes things more complicated. And even if Negan did just kill Alpha and Beta, others would take their place, who may not necessarily be as strong of leaders as them, but they would be able to leverage the mega horde to wipe out the communities. And Negan understood that very well. So he wanted to think about his actions and to execute his actions systematically. The next question I'm going to try to answer is, why did Negan help in the hilltop attack if he was Carol's spy? That goes back to my previous point. Negan tried to get into Alpha's head and change her, but to do that, he needed to gain her trust. He was not keen on helping attack Hilltop, obviously, but he didn't have a choice. And it's not like he directly killed anyone himself, and he may have even aimed at random places while they were shooting the arrows with flames during the Hilltop attack, because he wanted to just play along, make Alpha think that he's following her orders. Now, the other thing to remember is he did kill the survivors who were dying to put them out of their misery after the Hilltop battle, instead of just listening to Alpha and getting them to join the Mega Horde. And I think this says a lot about Negan's goal and what he wanted to do, what he was after. The fifth question we're going to try to answer is, why did Negan capture Lydia? This is actually an easy one. He wasn't looking for her to begin with, but since he found her, he wanted to capture her and prevent her from being out there so that she's not captured by the Whispers. He was looking out for Lydia. He wasn't trying to hurt her or anything. As a matter of fact, he may have actually left Carol a sign that Lydia was around, because Carol in this episode found Lydia's stick. Now that could have been left there by Negan to let Carol know that they were around, or maybe it was just left behind. But at the end of the day, Negan's plan wasn't to hurt Lydia. His plan was to capture her so she's out of harm's way. The last question we're going to try to answer is, if Carol had a plan, then why did she act on her own and cause death and destruction, or at least risk the lives of everyone else around her? This is slightly a plot hole. I agree that if Carol had this kind of master plan, she shouldn't have done these things that she did. But the simplest explanation I can come up with is that she was impatient and she didn't think that Negan was actually able to achieve what she wanted. Maybe she even thought Negan was killed or captured, or that he changed his mind or something. But I do agree that it is a little bit of a plot hole, and if they go back to it at some point and explain, I hope they explain it well enough to make it rational and realistic. But with all of that said, I want to know everyone's thoughts and opinions about everything discussed in this video. What do you think about Negan and Carol's plan, and do you think that it was executed well or not? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.